Howdy, howdy. My name is Lewis Herms. In case I forget, I'll have to repeat that. Lewis Herms. And we are at Screw Big Gov, which would be SBG News and Views, and yada, 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 yada. And the list goes on and on. Let me tell you, I am jacked. I'm excited to be here. One of my favorite days is when we do the Q&As. I don't know why anybody wants to hear from me because my nickname is Clueless Lewis. You're getting purely bad information here, I promise you. But hey, if it sells the tickets, here we go. Anyways, it's great to be here. I really appreciate everybody. Let's keep our vibes high. There's a lot of, I believe, spiritual attacks going on right now. So, muy importante that we counter that by keeping our frequencies way, way, way up. Please do me a favor and like, follow, and subscribe. As you know, if you've been here on Rumble, we are getting attacked big time. We have been in contact with Rumble, and they claim that it has nothing to do with them. These are outside attacks, but they're taking chunks of about 200 subscribers at a time and just going bye-bye and throwing them in the trash. So we recommend periodically, y'all, check and make sure you're still subscribed. We get a lot of reports saying you're not. In fact, we were just recently asked by Rumble if you can do this. Anybody that's been unsubscribed in the last, say, 6 months, if you can email us, right, at screwbiggov@protonmail.com, just give us your Rumble username and say, I was unsubscribed, I had to resubscribe. That's going to help them try to troubleshoot this, because if they know who it happened to, maybe not when, unless it's approximated. If they know who it happened to, they said they can track it down better, reverse engineer, and try to figure out exactly what's going on. So, it's fun, right? It's fun. We're getting shadow banned. We're getting attacked. Our accounts are getting deleted. Can't get any traction on major social media. So I have every reason just to get down and out and get depressed, but I'm not, because we're over the target. So the enemy's coming after us, and the enemy may look to you different like it may look to me. I believe it's a bunch of deep state demons, literally demons, that coming after us and doing this. So that's why we got to keep our vibes high, understand that God's got our back, and we, through the quantum realm, can manifest the outcome. That's my opinion. Yes, it is. I'm going to take that to the bank. So today's Q&A. What the heck? Let's get into it. Boom. And the first one is, I'm so proud of myself. I'm operating the system by myself right now. Good luck. Here we go. By the way, I haven't looked at these questions, so I'm not quite sure what's going to pop up. Question 1. Drum roll, please. Did President Trump really sign the United States up to join BRICS yesterday? Okay. I have to take a deep breath on questions like this. Here's why. So first, the assumption would be that President Trump is CIC, which would be Commander-in-Chief. Let's assume that to be true. Do you believe that the information would come out publicly that he signed us up to BRICS yesterday? Or is it more likely that anybody reporting on that is just trying to act as if they're an insider and trying to bring more clicks to the channel? What say you? What's your belief system? My belief system, if President Trump is CIC, and if he did that, there's no way that would be public knowledge. No way. And any insider that would have released that information would get their knees cut off by the gray hats, which you probably call the white hats. So my answer is it would not come out publicly if it was true. That's my opinion. And I am Clueless Lewis, so you can take it for what it's worth. All right, question 2. With the Brunson brothers' attempt to sue SCOTUS being the total nothing burger we always knew it to be, how do you look at it now? Well, I think there's a lot more to this than just that question. So I can tell you that I know at least one, two, I'd say legitimately, there's three things that are going to come in front of SCOTUS very soon, and we're going to really see what they're about. I believe intentionally some things are being put back because I am under the impression now that this is all a specific timing. The great example of that is we've heard about this Stormy Daniels thing. We've heard that um, she was on again, off again, whether Trump even made it with her, so on and so forth. And right when it's just about ready to go to court and everything's going to be exposed, going to go get Donald Trump. What happens? Donald Trump pulls out a letter and says, "Here's the proof right here in Stormy Daniels' writing with her signature that I never touched her and she was not paid off." It's right there. So I believe that when we hear that they have everything, talking about the good guys, I absolutely do believe that we have everything. And this is all about timing. Again, I believe we have enough there that we could have overturned 2020 immediately, but unfortunately, sorry guys, if Trump would have came in on his white horse, Pegasus, flew in and saved the day in 2020, we'd be right back here in 10 years because you have to break down the foundation of the deep state cabal. And part of that, unfortunately, is breaking down the brick walls that have been constructed with inside our minds to believe a certain way. The fact is, most stuff that we see are lies and propaganda. Great example is I love documentaries. I watch documentaries, especially animal documentaries, history documentaries, earth documentaries about the planet. And I can tell you that with inside virtually every documentary I watch, they seed us with propaganda. Little drops of seeds, constantly. No matter what the subject is, they find a way to seed in the propaganda. So if the lies are that deep, we're being lied to at virtually every level. So we just have to understand that. And I believe that's why this so-called plan, which I believe ultimately is we the people. In fact, I'm working with some people in the background right now. I can't discuss exactly, but we the people are about ready to really take some good action, huge action actually, in many different avenues. And we have great teams and forces behind this. So, but because we the people are the plan, in my opinion. Therefore, we just need to stick to that, know what we know that God's got our back, and this is how we're breaking down this crazy foundation of the cabal and breaking down the brick walls that we've established in our minds to put ourselves through this mass MK Ultra. So these are fun times if you can find, like Kara always says, Lewis tends to find the diamonds in the dog shit, but it's true because there is always a silver lining. All right, next up. Okay, I don't do gossip, so I'm probably not going to go too deep into this question. It says, "Are Roger Stone and Michael Flynn plotting against President Trump?" Let me ask you a question. Does anybody really know who's good and who's bad right now? Does anybody know? Don't know. I can tell you I have firsthand information that Roger Stone was hanging out with President Trump just, was that five? No, but last week, late last week. Firsthand knowledge. So I don't know. I would think if he's plotting against him, President Trump would know about it, and maybe he's just keeping his enemies closer. Michael Flynn's an interesting story. I think there may be an intentional diversion on his part to make himself look bad, but very interesting enough. We have to recall what he did for a living before. He created false narratives. That's what he did, right? He created psyops. That's what he did. He was in control of psyops. So anytime you think of General Flynn, think of that. Now, do you know whether he's doing a good psyop, a bad psyop, or what it is? I don't. I do not know. I can tell you a few different scenarios. One, he was on with Doug Billings one time, and he said before he said the latter, I'll tell you what the former that he said is he actually said on Doug Billingsley, he goes, even if there were blank, 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 I couldn't tell you in my position. And then several minutes later, Doug Billings said, is there a plan? And he says no. So think about the previous answer he gave, and then think about the latter. So, plus remember, he did the whole where we go one, we go all with the flag and kind of addressing Q and so on and so forth. And then he completely denied Q later, right? He was mentioning nothing positive about Donald Trump at all. And then 2 weeks ago, he just said that he thinks Trump did a great job and Trump's being massively attacked falsely. So think about these. The counter messages are all over the place. So this has to be intentional. Now, is it intentional because it's trying to screw with the bad guys? Or is he a bad guy? I'm one of the rare people out there. I am not jumping on the hate Flynn bandwagon, and I'm not jumping on the support Flynn bandwagon because I'm apprehensive because something is off there. And yes, I've met the man. Something is off there. So I'm not saying good or bad. I don't know. I know people like to just pick a side. Everything has to be black and white. It's got to be black and white. Well, guys, remember, who created it's got to be black and white? That's the Freemason mentality in order to keep us divided. How about there's a lot of hues in the middle that we just don't know about? How about we're authentic enough to say, I don't know. Sorry. Lewis Herms here. I don't know. All right. Next up. Question number 4. Am I the only one, or are people everywhere going totally insane? No, everybody's going insane. But think about this. I wish I knew who asked this question because I would address it directly. But let's think about this. We are in a spiritual informational war, right? So it's very easy to feel like you're going crazy. Take a deep breath. Go out in the morning early. Do some sun gazing. Take your shoes off. Put your feet on the ground. Pray to God for guidance. Find your highest frequency with this authenticity and then love. And then move forward. And we won't feel like we're going insane. But I understand where the question is. And it's on target right now because it feels like that. By the way, guys, if you expect me to read chat, I'm kind of solo today, so I'm not going to read chat until if I can get to questions in there. You guys will have to put them all in chat in capitalization so I could recognize them real quick. But I won't be doing that until we've gone through a bunch of questions first. Number 5. Do you believe there to be an on and off planet white hat back space force? If so, where do they operate? Woo! Damn, where's my tinfoil hat? It's a fair question. I don't generally go into this realm because it's not. I think there's a lot of pundits out there, podcasters that act like they know when they don't know. But it sells tickets, and what I mean by that, they get the clicks. I'm glad you prefaced it with "Do you believe?" So let's go down that realm, whether I believe or not. So let's go with what I know, what I've been told. I've been told that in the continental United States, there's minimum 2, maybe 3 true Space Force bases, but they're not solo bases. They occupy parts of other bases. I've been told that there's a solo base in Hawaii. I was told specifically where it was, but I don't think that's knowledge that I should even know and definitely not put out in public. So therefore, that's what we know as ground bases. So the question is on and off planet. What is a planet to you? I would say probably 40 to 50% of the people here right now do not believe there's a globe spinning through space and moving around through space at 666,000 miles per hour. Many people don't believe that. So for the globies that believe there's a globe, off planet would mean someplace else. Maybe it's a moon base, something like that. Interesting enough, I've been told by somebody that I believe is in the know, and this will probably piss off the globies, that the moon isn't what we think it is. Interesting enough. And I don't have a belief system on that. I don't think we're globe or flat. I think we're in some type of simulated space, maybe a toroidal field or something like that. Now, for the flat earthers, they would say off planet would mean just an extension of the planet that we're on, to the north, south, east, west, and so on and so forth. So I do believe there are other beings somewhere. And I'm going to pose a question to you that I've never said publicly before. Just what if, just a what if, because I just asked these questions. What if we've been told hell is inside the planet when maybe heaven on earth is really heaven in earth? And maybe that is what Admiral Byrd saw in a lot of other people. Maybe they saw something glorious. But we've been inverted on virtually everything. So do you think it's too far crazy? Do we think it's just wacky to believe that maybe heaven could be inside of the planet? I don't know. But these are the type of questions I think we should start asking ourselves, knowing that everything is inverted. It is absolutely crazy. Real quick, I see DG, you asked a question over here. You'll probably have to ask it later when I'm posing questions in the chat if I get into it, because it'll be lost by the time I get through these questions. Okay, I think I answered that one. All right. Next question. Executive Order 13303. That was not renewed. What do you think it means for the Iraqis and the dinar? Okay. Okay, honestly, I can't relate directly to that 13303. But what I will tell you, because I'm very, very familiar with the Iraqi dinar, otherwise known as the IQD, and in fact, about 17 years ago, yes, 17. No, I'm not just creating that. 17 years ago, I was considered a very knowledgeable person when it comes to the IQD, and I had some writings that I did, and the major websites would pick up my writings on this. So this is why I've been hearing people for the last 5 years with inside the Patriot community, even more actually. I'm sure I actually could say for the last 8 years, just inside the Patriot community alone, have virtually every holiday, every 3-day weekend, they're saying, the Iraqi dinar is revalued. We're all going to be wealthy. So how many times do you guys have to hear that before you don't believe it? Here's why I never got excited about the Iraqi dinar until lately. I know this will give some people some hope. I know. Here's why. Because I knew there had to be some things logistically that had to be done no matter what. Okay. Iraq had to pull themselves out of Chapter 7. Okay. There was also something they talked about, Chapter 8, but that's kind of speculative. They also had to form a legitimate government, which means they had to have their government had to go through a few sessions, and it had to get a budget approved multiple times. And there's a lot of hoops they had to jump through. The good news is they jumped through just about all of them. The one hoop I said that they're going to have to jump through in order to revalue the dinar is the most important hoop. And for some reason, all of the people pushing and selling dinar never mention this. Interesting, isn't it? I'll tell you exactly what that hoop is. It's the HCL law. It's a hydrocarbon law. Now, what that means is, to give you an idea, when Iraq went to war, right? They took on, when they were fighting ISIS and others, right? They were struggling. They asked the Kurds, which are the mountainous peoples in Iraq near Turkey, I believe. Actually, I believe they're partly in Turkey also, to help them because they were absolutely hardened fighters. The Kurds pretty much came in and saved Iraq's butt. They did a phenomenal, phenomenal job. But here's what the agreement was: that the Kurds, because they were on mineral rich and oil rich land, that the Kurds would get a certain percentage of the revenue that was drawn through all of Iraq, including under the Kurds' land, for the minerals and oil, and that would be natural gas. So what happened is part of the revaluing of the currency could not be done until the HCL was signed. Now, I've been told many times that it's already signed. And I check into it and it's not signed. It's been proposed, it's gone up for vote, so on and so forth. So as of today, because I haven't checked in a couple months, I don't know if it's signed or not. But I will tell you that I have been watching the what we call the corporate sales of dinar and the value. And the corporate value is revaluing as the dinar almost daily is going up in value. So that's a really good sign because they will start buying it up corporately because they understand that it's going to revalue. That's the honest to God truth with no hype. That's what I know. And this is, as you know, if you've ever figured out the way I operate, is I like to just take a pragmatic, honest approach, whether I like it or not. I want it to revalue tomorrow. So it's not, but I'm not going to tell you what I want. I'm going to tell you what I believe. So I hope that answered your question in long form. All right, what do we got next? Okay, who is Juan 07? What is his role? What exactly is his job? And how does he know Donald J. Trump? Okay. This is a really fair question. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are bashing a lot of truthers. And Juan is in that bucket of truthers that are being bashed and so-called exposed and so on and so forth. And I understand because he speaks in parables and allegories, and he tells stories, and he's evasive on some questions. And Juan is not giving out his real name and doesn't show his face. So all that being put together, it's very easy to speculate about 107. So again, I like to tell you what I know. I know firsthand, and I've seen it, that he absolutely has a relationship with Donald J. Trump. Unequivocally, without a doubt. So I don't know if that makes anybody feel better, but that I do know. Okay. What is his role? Well, I can tell you a little bit. I can tell you in the background, he to possibly even, I'm going to say vaguely expose 2020 and maybe fix 2020. And this is what I know. I know he has an incredible background. To say who he is, I don't know. And I've talked to one often. I actually talked to him yesterday. I tell him to his face, I don't give a damn who you are. Literally. I said, I don't care. And I'll tell him and I believe he's in disguise? Yes, I do. And he knows I believe that, and he knows I say that. And, I think Juan and I have a respect for each other because I believe he knows that all I care about is we the people. That's it. So who is he? Don't know. And I don't care because I don't think it's important in the long run. I think that type of information will come out when it's time. I think of some of the people that they've named that he is, one person I know he's not 100%. And that's not a celebrity. That's just somebody who they said he is. That was the psyop that I already uncovered myself. So well, I'll just say it. I do not believe he's Wayne Willett. That was an absolute psyop. I'll actually say I don't know. Maybe this will piss off my friend Michael Jacob and 107. I think that was a psyop perpetuated by those two to make it look like he was this Wayne Willett guy. He's not. So, and if somebody else try to play that game on me on the phone, and I'm like, yeah, no, he's not. So that's my opinion, but that would make sense. You know, you needed to divert attention. I think he is. I'm going to say this though, and I know for those people that are after him, they're not going to like this, and I don't give a damn. I think he's a very integral part of this, and I think is a very special person. And for the little bit I do know is he does more behind the scenes than you can imagine that you see on the front lines. And that to me shows the real character of a man because he's not even out there telling you the great work he's doing. So that's my opinion, 107. You guys take it for what it's worth. I just tell it like it is. And you know, even though I respect him, there's a reason you don't see him on the show all the time, and he knows it. Because I just like to ask a question, get a question answered. I don't want to go through a 20-minute story. He knows that about me, and he graciously would come on our show virtually anytime we asked him. But the reason why I spaced it out so long is because I'm not trying to get the clicks. I like to get the answers. So that's the type of relationship we have, and I think that's fair and honest. And I believe he would probably agree if he listened to this short example of what I think about him. All right, next up, with the Ingersoll, Lockwood, and Barron Trump thing, do you believe that Trumps are time travelers, and what's your analysis on it? Okay, for anybody that looking for a pragmatic approach right here, you're not going to get it. Yes, I do. I think there's some I don't know if it's time traveling or there's somebody that saw the future. I don't know what it is, but there's something there. There's definitely something there. I had somebody that's very connected to me say that the Trump team runs everything through a better than quantum computer with a million scenarios at a time to figure out what their next move is. I said I have a huge problem with that. It sounds more like it is Project Looking Glass, where you kind of look into the future and see what's going on. And I said I would trust that more than I would an AI computer figuring out scenarios. So, boom. I hope that answers that. So, and oh, by the way, I did a video on this that went super viral, and I think the title of the video is Trump and Time Travel Proven. So you may want to try to find that. God knows what channel it's on because all my channels have been deleted. I think it may be on Rumble somewhere. You'll have to find it. And if you guys can't find it after searching, let me know and I'll try to repost it. It's very interesting. So I believe I may have proved it. I know it sounds crazy. It's wacky. Woohoo. All right, next question. As this movie is played out slowly for the normies and more corruption is revealed, do you feel the EBS or martial law is necessary? Okay. That's a very sophisticated question, and I can tell you put a lot of thought into it. I appreciate that. I would first say I'm starting to believe that we right here now, we are the normies. And the people that haven't figured it out yet they're kind of got some challenges going on up here because there's enough information. And you know, and I can say or the MK Ultra just really took really good with them. So I believe both can happen. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. So I do believe it has to be played out slowly to wake people up. Unless, and I'm not wishing for it, but I'm predicting it, unless there's a massive financial crash. I believe, unfortunately, the financial crash will be the catalyst for more people waking up in a shorter amount of time than ever before. Because unfortunately, especially in the United States, we are inherently selfish. And until it affects us at home, that pisses me off more than you can possibly believe. That being said, I believe that it has to happen slowly unless there's something like a financial crash, which will believe will absolutely help wake people up. So, next part of the question, do you feel the EBS or martial law is necessary? I don't know it's necessary, but I got to say, I would like to see it because I really, really, really want as much information to get out in the shortest amount of time so we can move past this. My goal is not to do a show forever. My goal is to go snorkeling. My goal is to have my kids and my grandkids that aren't born yet, my great grandkids, to have a beautiful utopian type of lifestyle. That's my goal. I believe if we did do the EBS and or martial law, I think that would happen a lot quicker. So thumbs up for that one for me. You got my vote. All right. Next up, I'm going to drink water out of a plastic bottle, everybody. I'm sorry. Don't put it in chat. It's just what I had handy. The good news, it's not the brand I'm actually drinking. I just filled the bottle up because it was nearby. All right. Next question. Boom. Question 10. Donald J. Trump, Elon Musk, the Pope are all feared to be the Antichrist. You forgot Barack Obama in there. In your opinion, who is the real Antichrist? Oh, I think another one that's feared to be is Prince William, if I read correctly. It's a great question, actually, and I don't know the answer. I wish I did. I kind of believe that if there's going to be an Antichrist, we may not even know who that is right now. That being said, I'm going to pose another question to you, and I think it's pretty important. What if we have already seen the Antichrist? What if we're in the middle of tribulation? What if all of the stuff that's written is actually already passed and we're in a whole nother time realm now? What if, or is it that Satan's reign is over and now we go into 1,000 years, right? Why did I ask all these questions? Because since virtually the same day the Bible was published, listen to my words, published, not written, first day it was published, people have been making predictions about what's to come, and what will be, and what was, right? So I think it's very, very tough to answer these questions if you're going to answer them honestly. And I think you can get very passionate people that will tell you all of the people you listed here, DJT, Elon, the Pope, and Barack Obama, and Prince William. They'll give you compelling arguments how each one of them are the Antichrist. What I really like to do is get all those people in there and have them go battle it out, and let's see what the outcome is, because I don't have the answer to that. Here's what I do know in my heart, and this is I believe God speaks directly to all of us. So I'm not an anomaly here. I'm not some dude that, ooh, God only speaks to me. Come follow me. I believe God speaks to all of us. And in my heart, from God to me directly, all I keep hearing is none of it matters. Ultimately, we the people win. None of it's important. We the people win. But you must get to work. So I believe the Lord, in many aspects, is sitting on the sidelines, waiting for his army to get to work. Which is why I stand up here daily and plead with you, we the people, to get active. I believe that's extraordinarily important. And that is what I believe is going to happen. All right, next question. What do you consider to be hopium? False information, which keeps us distracted. Med beds, Nasera, Jacera, white hats. Okay, Q, etc. So these are specific. So let me answer these individually. Because hopium's pretty vague, and I say it a lot myself. Okay. Med beds. So the question really is what med beds are. I think the general consensus is med beds would be frequency healing. If that's true, yes, I do believe med beds already exist. Do they go as far as rebuilding a limb if you lost a limb, or rebuilding your heart, and so on and so forth? I don't know. I've seen, or I've been privy to firsthand, and I don't know if I said this publicly, to frequency healing, and it blew me away. Just absolutely blew me away. And then I really started to dig into, and I believe these old so-called, let's just label them, Tatarian buildings and structures and churches are not energy centers. I believe they're healing centers. I believe the sacred geometry, notice they didn't say gematria, the sacred geometry within inside of those, including the bells that they used to have and the pipe organs that they used to have, are built on frequencies where people would go in and they would get healed. So that's my belief. So common sense would say, yes, absolutely, they do have med beds already. The question really is, how far are the med beds? And this will tie into the next question about Nasara Jasara. I believe in this community, and I'm not saying it's done nefariously, but often I think it is. I believe somebody takes something great and they embellish on it to make it even bigger. They exaggerate. Well, exaggeration is a form of lying, is it not? So when they say, like, the med beds are this just magical thing and you're going to be 30 years younger immediately, it grows back a limb, maybe they've had the technology. I mean, I have talked with people that said they were in Space Force and say they absolutely have the technology. All I know is frequency healing is real, it works, and I believe it's been here for thousands of years and it's been intentionally suppressed. So logic would say yes. Plus, I've seen med beds, by the way. I just don't know how, and in person, by the way, been in them. I'm just not quite sure how effective all of them are. I think they have some more work to do on this 3D realm that we're living right now. Let me tie that into Nasara Jasara. Is Nasara Jasara real? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Pause. Yes, Nasara Jasara is real. Pause again. Why am I doing this? Because it was blown out of proportion. The most popular document that came out about Nasara Jasara had all these bullet points of what Nasara Jasara is going to give you. And I've listed this several times. One of the bullet points says what? Says you will get a monthly stipend of sorts, maybe $2,000 to $3,000 a month, every single month. Well, the good news is it's been proven in some countries that it works. In Libya, it did wonders. And that's why I believe Hillary Clinton went in there and everybody got to Muammar Gaddafi, because they were living the life. And they were still productive, even though they were getting a monthly check. So, yes, that could be reasonable. But you know what else is in that document at the same time? Is that real estate prices will come down to 1950s level. Well, that's just total horseshit. If anybody understands the law of supply and demand, they know those two things cannot coincide in the same space. Can you imagine if all your debt is gone and you're getting an extra $2,000, $3,000 a month? How exactly are real estate prices going to drop to 1950s level? There's no common sense in there whatsoever. So that document I call BS on, and that document is what people use to hype Nasara Jasara. So again, medbed's real, maybe not to the level that's been hyped. Nasara Jasara real, yes, not to the level that it's been hyped. Hope that answers those questions. I'm going to skip over white hats for a second and go right to Q. Q is real. Q is a PSYOP. I believe Q is a good PSYOP, not a bad PSYOP. I believe Q will F with your mind if you spend too much time on Q. Guess why? because the bad guys are doing everything they can to disseminate what it is about. So they're intentionally messing with the bad guys, which means by proxy, it's going to mess with you too. So, yes, I believe Q is real. I absolutely believe. In fact, I believe at one time they had about 700 people in bunkers in North Carolina running the show. But that's my belief system. Scratch all that. There's been a lot of evidence has come real through Q, and I believe there's going to be a lot more to come. I believe it is a psyop by the good guys, though. And unfortunately, in the fog of war, you are created in that. Great example. I believe it was September 18th of 2018. Why is that date so significant? That's the last day that Q posted Trust the Plan. Yet, what did the hopium sellers do? Trust the plan. Don't do anything. Sit back, eat your popcorn. That's all you got to do. It's all taken care of for you. What if Trust the Plan was we the people getting activated? We the people making a difference. We the people making sure that we save the children. We the people making sure that this will never happen again. That's the plan. But just like the Bible may have great scripture in it, but it can be manipulated outside of the Bible. I give you Matthew 5:5. The meek shall inherit the earth. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but the churches have taught you meek is weak. Meek is docile. Meek sits back and does nothing. Well, that's not true. That's a bold-faced lie. If you go back to the origins of the word meek, it's somebody that will protect others. A Turkish horse, the strongest horse out there, was called meek. Moses, who wandered around for 40 years, is called meek. Jesus flipped tables, called himself meek. Outside of the Bible, it was manipulated. Just like Medbeds, just like Nasara Jasara, and just like Q. This is part of our discernment, folks. We need to start seeing the stuff for what it is. When man gets his hands on it, they use it for their own promotion of their ego or money or fame. We need to be aware of that. White hats. Well, Ethan Lucas and I are friends, and we're on the same page. We kind of think they're gray hats. Now, why is that? Here's my definition of why the white hats are probably gray hats. I believe white hats are more the we the people. Ethan believes those would be clear, but that's a whole long story. I believe the white hats are more we the people. Why? Because we the people have a righteous outcome that we're trying to get. And hopefully we're trying not to do it for selfish needs. We're trying to save the planet for the kids to come. Now, that may be the goal of the so-called white hats also. But I'm sorry, in war, you have to do nefarious things. So I don't really believe it's that we're weak and scared. I think that the cabal has done a really, really good job at brainwashing Americans and hiding a lot of stuff from them. Great example. I would say it's reasonable to say that the least healthy food in the whole world is produced in this country, in the United States. The least, the most poison, most chemicals by far. What happens is that dumbs you down, that F's with your pineal gland and your pituitary system. You can't resonate at the level that you normally can. You can't think outside the box, and you're just scrambling all the time because we have the most anxiety here. We have the most people with depression, the most sickness here. All of it's done on purpose, right? So they give us all the bread and circus in the United States. So we have ample food. Most people overeat. Let's be honest. I do. We have ample food. We have the best sporting events. Then the best plays and singing and musical and bands and blah 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 blah. Great if you want to go out to nature. Some of the most extraordinary things in this country. You got all of that. They understand that. So they use that as the beacon on the hill. Oh, come to America. It's the best. Well, if we stuck to the Constitution, we would be, right? But the reality, so what they do to counterbalance that, and they being the cabal, is they poison our food. There's more drugs that are delivered here than any place else in the world by far. And I'm talking pharmaceutical drugs. I'm not just talking illegal drugs. So this is intentional. So I think we're more dumbed down than we are weak and scared, right? I believe the time will come where we're going to stand up. And I think the one thing that we have that other countries don't have is, in general, the belief that protecting yourself, your family, again, so I don't know if we're weak and scared. In fact, Americans probably will stand up super strong. The question is when, and I think a financial crash would help, unfortunately. But we're not as far down the rabbit hole. Every time I go to a restaurant, it's packed. You got to wait. So clearly, we're not hurting as a whole as much as we think we are. Doesn't mean you're not. Doesn't mean a lot of people aren't. It just means as a whole, we're not. Okie dokie. I feel some of our strongest warriors and healers are currently fighting internal battles with addiction and intentional distraction. How can they overcome this struggle? That is a beautiful question. And surprisingly, I agree with you 100%. I really do. I really do. And it's sad. I have people that I know pretty well that justify their drinking for some reason as it's okay, and I believe they drink too much. But they think, well, they're functional, so it's okay. I'm on an island here, and I understand this, and I'm not trying to affect anybody. Don't drink. I'm not interested in drinking. Although I did see a really good documentary on single malt whiskey, so I might take up drinking anytime soon. Maybe sipping every once in a while. But my point is, I do think there's a reason why it's called spirits, and I do think it is a way for demons to access you. So that's one reason why I don't like to play with that. When people play with it and drink too much, I think it's concerning. I do think a lot of people in this patriot movement are on substances that I don't think are good for them, and I think they're not in their best headspace, and the drinking. So full disclosure here, I also believe that we're in a war, and we need to be the best we can be, right? Therefore, if I'm going to be the best we can be, I'm not going to put a bunch of alcohol into my body because I don't think that's the best we can be. But then again, my eating habits are horrible. So I'm not really living up to that example. And I go in spurts. My wife and I know we'll go 30 days. Oh, we ate awesome. And then we'll jack up for the next 5 days. So we're wrestling with that. And just yesterday, it's funny, we're having this conversation. We talked about, we go, maybe we need to start looking at these cravings for these bad foods. Maybe these are demons and this is the way they're attacking us. And that may motivate us to do even better in regards to that. So, yeah, warriors and healers, I think they are definitely fighting internal battles. And I think it's more than just addictions. I think many of them don't know that they're dealing with demons. And that can be a big struggle if they don't figure that one out. What do you feel is going on in Antarctica? Could you remote view this, please? I probably won't remote view it anytime soon. I have to be compelled when I do that, by the way, and it takes a lot of energy out from me, and I'm doing other things, let's call it in the 3D realm. I'm working a lot pragmatically right now because we have to get some stuff done. So I may not, full disclosure, I may not do that right away. What do you feel is going on in Antarctica? I may be on an island again. I think what's going on there is probably good. I do think there may be some access to an inner earth of some sort there. I don't believe it was always good. And this is an energy thing only. I feel like the energies have shifted, and I feel like maybe the gray hats have already taken that over. Let's just say that. Question 15. Who in the truther community have switched sides recently? Have you ever received a proposal to do so? Okay. I don't get into the drama. I think there's enough drama in the truther community. So the first half of the question, I will not answer. The second half, have you received a proposal to do so? Okay. I have not received a proposal to do anything nefarious. have received a couple proposals and pushes to go in a certain direction that people thought was a better direction for me to go in, but it's not the direction I received from God, therefore I declined. And I was told that my truth tour and my platforms would get so much more attention, and I would just blow up and probably like 5, 10 times the more views than I get now. And I said, not interested. I don't think that's authentic to we the people. So even though I think that these people that I was talking to had good intentions and they believe they're part of the plan and so on and so forth, I was not interested. So I understand because she's so deep into it while she thinks it's all lost. But I do have a belief system that, well, by the way, let's go answer the last part first. If so, how do we go about this? We need to take down the systems all about exposure. Michelle's ideas are actually just right on target. So I would say if anybody go over to her Telegram or rewatch the video. I interviewed her just this week, right? And get her information and find out because she's doing it the right way. I do believe when it comes to the election, the way we win, if we haven't fixed the system, if there's an election, by the way, I'm not one that thinks there will be. I think there may not be. But let's assume there is. And we haven't fixed things yet because it is a short window to do so. Although I can tell you there's some work on the background that may shock some people coming soon. Let's find out. But let's assume the election's not fixed and there is an election. That's worst case scenario. Here's where her and I may differ a little bit. I believe what we need to do, if that's the case, is that's an if case scenario, which I don't even think we're going to get to that point. So for now, I would absolutely go look at everything Michelle Swinnick's doing. She's doing phenomenal work. She's a true warrior. So there's a bunch of warriors in Arizona, a bunch of them. And, some are unhappy with me, and I still love them because they do phenomenal work, and they do such a great job, and they really, really care. I would absolutely, though, go look at everything she does and start participating, make a difference, because she lays it out how we can get involved. And I'll have some things coming forward with Remember Your Oath soon and with the app, and it'll be even easier to get involved. But don't wait for me. Go do it now. Oh my God, somebody's putting me on the spot. Tell us your best joke. Oh Lord. Okay, so I'm not a canned joke teller. People say I'm funny. I think maybe I'm funny looking. I don't know. But I don't have these canned jokes. It's just, I don't have them. I've heard some good ones. I tend not to remember them. I'm sorry to let you down. The best dirty joke I've ever heard is a white horse fell in mud. But other than that, I don't have much. I wish I can give you something. Okay, here. I don't know if I can do this on recording because you have to see there's some movement to it, but I'll give you one. Sorry if I'm offending any animal lovers, but here it goes. There's a scientist, and he's teaching in front of a class, and he recruits one of the students to help him, all right? And he's trying to determine how far can a frog jump. Great. So he's like, jump, frog, jump. Boom. He gets the measurement out. He's like 4 feet. He tells his assistant, 4 feet. He goes, frog jumps 4 feet. He goes, great. He says, give me the hatchet. He said, what? Yeah, give me the hatchet. Boom. He chops off a leg. What? That's right. He chopped off a leg. He goes, jump, frog, jump. The frog jumps. Measured out. 3 feet. Ah. Write this down. Frog with 3 legs jumps 3 feet. He says, maybe we're on to something. He chopped off another leg. The frog's kind of wobbling. Jump, frog, jump. Jump, frog, jump. Taps it on the butt a little bit. Jumps, boink. Didn't go very far, of course. Frog with 2 legs jumps 2 feet. He's like, wow, this is interesting. Okay. Chop off another leg. Frog's on 1 leg. Jump, frog, jump. Jump, frog, jump. Slaps it on the butt. Finally leaps forward a little bit. Of course, frog with 1 leg jumps 1 foot. Student goes, wow, that was amazing. He goes, oh, we're not done yet. He chops off the last leg of the frog. Jump, frog, jump. Jump, frog, jump. The whole class is screaming, jump, frog, jump. Nothing. Final assessment, frog with no legs, can't hear. There you go, guys. That's all I got for jokes. I'm not the joke teller, so probably don't ask me that question again because I won't have any more. All right, next up. Okay, question 18, which appears to be the last question. So if you guys want to put a couple questions in chat in all caps, I'll try to get to them. All right, last question, question 18. You work so hard for we the people. Do you ever feel like giving up? What can we do to help you and Screw Big Gov continue on? Well, that's a sweet question. Well, I'm getting choked up. It's very humbling that you would say that, whoever you are. Okay, I really appreciate that. But aren't we just really all working for each other here? Aren't we all just bringing it together and going to bring this home with, of course, an assist from God Almighty? So we're all working for we the people. I just happen to have a platform so you guys see it. And I do think I do a lot. I really do. And I'm very proud of the work I do between the Truth Tour and the 20-some films and God, Freedom in Action and Remember Your Oath and Screw Big Gov and SPG News and all this stuff. Because all I ever do is I just say, this is my biggest question to myself, and this is where I believe I get the answer from God. I just say, okay, here's a problem. What's the solution? And I get the answer, and then I go. So it's really not, I mean, I guess physically I'm working hard, but the reality is it's sometimes seamless because I'm just getting, it's like, just go. This is what you need to do next, right? Do I ever feel like giving up? I'd be lying if I said no. I'd say it gets to me sometimes. It's frustrating that, you know, I've kicked off all these platforms. I'm constantly shadow banning. By the way, the shadow banning is a lot worse than getting your account deleted. I don't know if people understand this, because you're getting no traction and you're doing all the work. At least if you get deleted, you're just like, oh, I'll put up a new account. No big deal. And send everybody to that. Right? So it is, it can get you down, but ultimately I look at it like this. Who benefits if I'm down, depressed, or I give up? The cabal benefits. I will not let that happen. This is why I always say, guys, fear is their greatest fuel. Do not show them you're in fear. You need to move on, and you have to go. And it says, what can we do to help you and Screw Big Gov continue on? I know your expectations. Oh, go donate. No, I mean, that's awesome. But your support is awesome. Your kind words, ideas, I don't have all the answers, will be phenomenal also. So I appreciate your heartfelt question there. It's probably about the best way I can answer it. And I believe you guys should pray. Pray and pray and pray for some more. God's right there, just waiting to give us the assist, I feel. All right, before we get on some questions, I got to do some business here. This is screwbiggov.com. Why do you want to go to screwbiggov.com? Because all the places we get shadow banned, kicked off of, blah, 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 blah. You can find us there. Just click on one of those social media buttons right above my lovely wife and I, and it'll go right to our social media. You'll love, we're starting to do a lot more work on social media, so that's fun. If you want to find out everything you else do, you click on all these things below, including the films, blah, 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 blah. If you want to buy some swag, you click on swag. Somewhere there's a donate button on there. Blah, 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 blah. But you know what you really should click on? Click on the newsletter, because if sometime we go down, you're going to be the first to find out where we are, because we're going to email you. Plus, we email a couple of times a week to give you some updates and some really good tips in the newsletter. So I would click right there on the newsletter and get that. Now, let's be forever young, guys. Take care of your wonderful pets. Our pets are awesome. In a nutshell, all I can tell you here, I got to click off of this. I apologize. All I can tell you here is go to sbgpets.com. This has been wonderful for our family. When we've seen the changes in our pets, our 3 dogs, well, 2 of them, one of them's pretty young, so we haven't seen much in them. But the 2 older ones, it's just been amazing. The stories, just incredible. Put the right food and supplements into your pets. I personally, I cannot trust the stores anymore. I thought I was buying the best of the best of the best of the food recently, and it completely backfired. So this is the only source that I know of. And I know people that actually have fed all raw food, and then they've gone to SBG Pets, and their cats and their dogs are doing a lot better now. So that's pretty interesting also. Maybe it's because of all the crap that's in our food. Alrighty, let's go and see. I believe we have some questions coming in on the comments and questions. So let me scroll through here, guys, real quick. All right. By the way, thank you to our admins. I see in there Ronnie just doing awesome work. Is also, everybody give a heart to Ronnie right now if you're in chat. She just works so hard for us. Denise is in there. She's always helping. Edward's in there helping. Master Baggy is amazing. Buckshot's in here. Just all amazing, amazing people. All right, let's see. Status of Black ritual happenings. Well, I do know there were some major rituals that were going on through the 8th through the 10th, and I believe that they've been pretty much squashed. And I also believe that these rituals, the reason why they're trying so many of these rituals right now and so often is because their backs are in the corner and they're getting their asses handed to them. That is, I think it's more than my opinion. It really looks like that's what we're seeing, so which is really cool. Remember, guys, if you have a question, put it, or a comment, put it in all caps, or I'm going to just bypass it real quick. Getting a lot of thank yous and God blesses. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see. Okay. Thoughts on OJ, false flag to divide our country. Is this a marker? I have some thoughts on OJ, and I don't know if it's a marker. So, interesting enough, when OJ was driving his white Bronco by, I was watching the news, and he literally drove a couple blocks right past my house. I lived in Long Beach at the time. So I actually investigated this more as the trial was happening, because something was off even back then. Something was way off. So at the time, I didn't know, was OJ set up because maybe he was going to expose something in regards to the baddies, or was he actually guilty? The evidence, the preponderance of evidence really appeared like he's guilty. I'll tell you one thing that I was screaming at the TV when it happened. Do you remember when he put the glove on him? Okay, 2 things. An all leather glove, I know this because I was in construction, when it gets wet, will shrink. So if that glove that they found, right, was all bloody, it would shrink. I also know something else, and I tested it, literally tested it the day of the trial with gloves that I had. If you take your hand, right, and you start putting that glove on, and before it goes over there, you fold your thumb like this, you cannot put that glove on your hand. You can pull and pull and pull. If you're pulling, especially near the thumb side, it will appear that that glove won't fit. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Remember that? I'm telling you. How would I know that and figure that out? And the prosecutors would have no freaking clue, or they wouldn't have anybody tell them that you can do this. I figured it out within minutes. I said, something doesn't look right here. And I got a glove, bent my thumb like that. You can't tell that your thumb's bent when it's inside a glove and you're pulling it down. You can pull as hard as you want. I had friends do it. They couldn't pull it down. Straighten my thumb. Boom, it goes right on. This is part of our discernment. So even back then, I was working on things like this, right? Here's what's wacky about this. And I know this is a tinfoil hat conspiracy that you've ever seen. I know the speculation that Megyn Kelly is Nicole Brown Simpson. I don't know where the ages line up in regards to that. There are very similar facial features for sure. Here's what got me though. Trump doesn't make mistakes, I don't think. I think when he says something, there's some meaning behind it. It was very odd and out of character for him to indicate that Megyn Kelly was bleeding out of several orifices. For that reason, I go, wow, was he referring to Nicole Brown Simpson? Is there a connection there? Something is still odd about this. You may find out something's off. So I don't know if this is a marker. Something is wacky about this. Something is really wacky about this. Let's see. That's sweet. Denise says, so very appreciated, Louis Oticelli. That's my beautiful wife and beautiful soul family. Help targeted individuals unite. Well, I would agree with that. And there's a lot of targeted individuals. Okay. The answer is yes. I think I kind of answered this before. Red Brush One said it clearly has to be slow rolled for the MK Ultra. We were all under. Do you agree with this approach? Unfortunately, I do. I didn't agree with it before, and now I really don't think there's any way that we would have woken up if we didn't go with this slow roll. It's painful, but sometimes, in order to move forward, you have to be uncomfortable first, and I think that's the stage that we're in. But it's getting better. All right. I'm sure there's some other questions there, but I'm losing my spot here. So I'm going to have to go back down to the bottom and see real quick. I think that about does it. Somebody said, all right. Well, folks, I appreciate you. We have a wonderful interview tomorrow. A gentleman named Matt Geiger. He's actually with a gold company, but that's not the point of the interview. He's got some amazing information. He knows a lot about finances and some other things that I'm going to be traveling tomorrow, but we'll get that interview up same time that you're here right now. He's phenomenal. Shortly, my new buddy, ENG Anon, just opened a Rumble channel. I will be posting his Rumble channel in my Telegram. As you know, I'm always supporting new truthers. It's not about me. Go help them. Go subscribe to his channel. Give him as much love as possible because I believe his heart is in the right place and does wonderful things. Okay, let me answer this one question because it keeps popping up. I've answered this several times, but maybe you just haven't seen it. Your thoughts on Mike Gill, please. Okay, Mike Gill has some wonderful information with the Pandora Papers. Mike Gill has been hunted. I believe Mike feels very upset because he thought his stuff would have got more traction, and I think he thought Flynn and Donald Trump would have already taken it. I can tell you, this is no knock on Mike, that if Mike has it already, President Trump has had it for a long time. And it's just not time for them to attack it. Now, there's proof in what I'm saying. Think about this. Do you think that Trump just got the letter with Stormy Daniels saying this is a nothing burger? Or do you think they've had it and they just waited to roll it out until this case came out? That's when I think the Pandora Papers are going to kick in. But I've also been told that there's a lot more people involved than just Mike Gill, and this is so much more bigger than one individual. So that I will say about that situation. But what's in there is legit. But I would tell Mike, because Mike keeps saying he's got it all, and he's upset with Flynn and Trump. Right now, if you're on something where Mike is on, just say, Mike, give it to us then. If you got it, just give it to. What are you hiding for? Don't worry. Release it now, right? Give it to us all. Don't wait anymore. Don't hesitate. If you really believe that all of these people you're talking about are not doing their job, we'll give it to us, and we the people will get it out there as much as we possibly can. So that's what I would say to him right now. Mike, give us the goods. Show us the receipts. I believe he probably has it. Let's just see it. Let's get it done. We the people will take care of it for sure. All right, guys. I really appreciate you. God bless everybody. We've got some. I'm doing some traveling this weekend. I'll be with some really, really great patriots. They don't know it, but I'll probably hold a couple meetings. Try to get people motivated, going in certain directions. You know how I am. Anyways, it's been wonderful having you here. From my wife and myself to you, we love all of you. We appreciate you. We've got this. We really have this. But at the end of the day, when you look at the impression that you left, is that impression larger than your couch? Or is it bigger on the world? You're going to have to answer that question yourself. God bless you. Have a great, great evening. Let's go get them.